Thank you. Please be seated.
Your Excellency, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Honorable Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Mansour Nader, Director General of the FAO, Dr. Chu Dong-yu, Regional Representative for Latin America and the Caribbean, Mario Lubitikin, and other senior management and staff from Rome and other regional and sub-regional offices, Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Chair of the conference, Zulfikar Mustafa, and other ministers of the Guyana government and regional ministers from the 33 member states, FAO Country Representative Dr. Gillian Smith, members of Parliament, CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett, members of the Diplomatic Corps, heads and members of local and regional agriculture agencies, representatives of the private sector and civil society, ladies and gentlemen, students, members of the media, good afternoon and welcome to the opening ceremony of the 38th session of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization Regional Conference for Latin America and the Caribbean. Can we give ourselves a round of applause, looking around the room? It's beautiful to see this global family this afternoon. This conference is being hosted for the very first time here in Guyana in collaboration with the FAO, and it's coming at a very important time as Guyana and CARICOM work towards lowering the regional food import bill by 25% by 2025. We're also a year away from 80 years working as a global community to make progress in combating hunger and malnutrition and achieving more resilient and sustainable production systems. So as we raise the curtain this afternoon on the conference, we're now delighted to give you a glimpse into our beautiful country, Guyana, of course, in the context of what is to come over the next 3 days. May I invite your attention to the screens closest to you for the introductory video.
Welcome to Guyana, a gem in the heart of Latin America and the Caribbean, graced with breathtaking landscapes and a richness that blends natural diversity with a unique cultural heritage. From vast valleys to dense forests and majestic rivers and waterfalls, Guyana unfurls a palette of scenes that captivate those privileged to explore it. Today, from its capital, Georgetown, we connect with all Latin America and the Caribbean through the 38th Regional Conference of the FAO to engage in dialogue and discussion about the progress and challenges facing our region. This continues the mandate entrusted by member countries and renewed during the last regional conference held in Quito, Ecuador. The journey over these 2 years has been challenging, despite FAO figures indicating that Latin America and the Caribbean made the greatest strides in reducing hunger and food insecurity in 2022. 43.2 million people still lack access to food. The reasons are manifold: the socioeconomic consequences of the pandemic, global conflicts, and food inflation, among other factors, persistently affect the most vulnerable. But we are standing at a pivotal moment in time, where new opportunities are emerging. It is time to move from commitment to more action. The path to a sustainable future cannot be walked alone. FAO joins hands with member governments of the region, working tirelessly to address the pressing challenges we face today. Thanks to successful regional integration, we have achieved significant, tangible results to help achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, especially those linked to combating poverty, hunger, and inequalities. Over the next 4 days, Latin American and Caribbean governments will reaffirm their commitment to advancing towards more efficient, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable agri-food systems. Together, we can create a future where every person has access to more nutritious food, every producer can generate better yields, and our planet can confront climate change. The journey continues here in Guyana. Join us.
Here we are in the land of many waters, moving from commitment to more action. We acknowledge the 268 participants virtually and almost 279 participants who are here physically in Guyana. Let's give them a warm welcome, especially if you're here for the very first time. Trusting that the conference will have meaningful deliverables towards a more resilient and sustainable food secure region. At FAO, work is done in 6 languages and more. And so to bring you greetings, let's give a nice Guyana, Caribbean, and Latin American welcome to Director General of FAO, Dr. Chu Don Yu.
Honorable President, Honorable Prime Minister, dear colleagues, good afternoon. Salam alaikum. Happy Ramadan. Ramadan Kareem. Dear colleagues, I'm so pleased to be here in Georgetown to open the 38th session of FAO Regional Ministerial Conference for Latin America and the Caribbean. First of all, I wish to thank the people and the government of Guyana for the warm welcome and for hosting this important conference for this region. First time in this beautiful country, and it's a meeting point between Latin America and the Caribbean. Special thanks to the Honorable Ministers Zulfikar Mustafa, Minister of Agriculture and Guyana, Chairperson of the Regional Conference. Is thoroughly control the quality of the preparation, with whom I look forward to working with you and over the next biennium to support the implementation of the regional priority that the members of this region will identify over the next days. I firmly believe that this regional conference will serve as an important platform among members to exchange ideas, share the knowledge on the innovative solutions and best practices that are regional specific. Look at this convention center. It's a purely harmonized, cozy places for you to debate, to find out the solutions with action plan in the future. By leveraging the momentum and the political commitment provided by this high-level meeting, we can accelerate strengthening our collective efforts towards transforming ecosystems in the region and beyond. This is the 3rd FAO Regional Minister Conference being held globally this year, and I'm encouraged by the high level of commitment and the collaboration demonstrated by all the FAO members across various regions, and especially now they finished from the ROP, Asia Pacific region, and RENA, Near East and North Africa. The reaffirmation and the strengthening of our partnership at the country, regional, and the global level underscore the fruitful collaboration we have tirelessly worked to achieve. In line with the FAO Strategy Framework 2022 to 31, endorsed by the FAO members, we will focus on our 4 regional priorities at this regional conference. These priorities are interconnected and guided by the aspiration of the 4 betters. You see, there's so many colorful 4 betters, and it's really getting ownership and partnership by your region, by your Minister of Agriculture, especially by your government and the people and partners together. 4 betters ensure that no one is left behind. 1, better production through the efficient, inclusive, and sustainable production. 2, better nutrition by addressing hunger and malnutrition, working towards achieve the food security. 3, a better environment through the sustainable management of natural resources, adaptation to climate change. And 4, a better life through the emergency rehabilitation to the hotspots, reduction of the inequalities and poverty, and strengthening resilience and social security. I really admire the government, especially the president of the Guyana himself, always advocated the food security in this region and beyond. And he always work and talk with the strategies and the action plan and make this country and this region different from before. The FAO strategy framework is supported by the number of the flagship initiatives, all actively being implemented in Latin America and the Caribbean, and all with a strong focus on science, innovation, technology, and digitalization. Through the FAO Hand-in-Hand initiative, we are collaborating with 14 countries in this region, developing investment plan totally approximately $772 million by mobilizing resources through, among others, developing the bank and the private sectors, as well as public investment in priority areas identified by the territorial approach of the Hand-in-Hand initiatives. The Hand-in-Hand initiative has also launched 2 regional initiatives, namely the Dry Corridor Regional Initiative, which was launched at the Hand-in-Hand Investment Forum in 2022, and has been expanded to 13 countries from the region, supporting the government at the highest level and in close cooperation with the sub-regional partners. And the Hand-in-Hand Regional Initiative for the Amazonia, launched in 2023, it seeks to identify potential areas of intervention supported by a new economy that promotes the inclusion by economy and just climate, offering the opportunity to make the agricultural system more efficient, more inclusive, more resilient, and more sustainable. In addition, the flagship FAO 1000 Digital Village Initiative is supporting the 52 agro-tourism projects in 14 countries in this region, enhancing the digital capacity in rural communities and improve their living conditions. And the FAO One Country, One Commodity initiative promotes 11 special agricultural products in 14 countries in the region, enhancing food security, supporting sustainable development, and improve the competitiveness of the agro products in this region. Furthermore, the regional technical platform on family farming is a key priority for the organization that aims to promote the transformation of agricultural systems globally. Through the virtual and the interactive content, it promotes the exchange of experience and knowledge among the government, family farming organizations, academia, and private sectors. Its first edition successfully collected participants from more than 40 countries. Dear colleagues, Latin America and the Caribbean, like many other regions, face many challenges such as the economic slowdown, climate crisis, and the conflicts. Despite being the major food exporters, the region's dependence on commodities trade makes the agricultural system vulnerable to economic and political fluctuations. At the same time, persistently high food prices continue to pose challenges to food security and nutrition locally. In addition, the region is vulnerable to the impact of the climate crisis, especially impacting the Caribbean, with climate-related disasters increasingly affecting local communities. FAO is collaborating closely with the government in the region to boost the preparedness and timely responses in addressing the impact of the climate crisis and to build resilience. Our approach encompasses comprehensive strategies aimed at advancing inclusive rural development and sustainable natural resource management by integrating traditional knowledge with cutting-edge scientific and technological innovations to address these complex issues. FAO has prioritized building resilience among the most vulnerable populations, including women, youth, and indigenous peoples. We have also strengthened our work with small island development state seeds, including through the establishment of a team of experts led by the chief economist, Maximo Torero. He originated from Peru, so he can dialogue with you both Spanish and English very well. Focus on the seeds to provide the needed support based on their individual requirements and priorities. Dear colleagues, across all regions, the poorest bear a disproportionate burden, suffering double the average income loss. In response to this challenge, we must urgently transform our agri-food system to ensure that no one is left behind. Collecting, analyzing, and disseminating timely market and food security and nutrition data and information for improved decision-making is the key. By supporting members in monitoring policy decisions and measures, FAO aims to mitigate the negative impact of price shocks on food costs and prevent disruption in supply chains. Since G20 2011, FAO hosts secretary for the AMIS, Agro-Market Information System. So we are now closely work with the G20 presidents and the Brazil government, especially under the strong leadership of President Lula. We are going to support them technically on the initiative fight against hunger and malnutrition. We are willing to support more in the years to come. So such effort, FAO continue to play a crucial role in advancing progress toward achieving food security and sustainable development in this region and globally. For successful impact at scale, we need to foster even stronger partnership for coordinated action and targeted investment. I read the brochure provided by the Guyana government. You are aiming to increase the investment on the agri-food system. That's a good signal and a strong political and initiative. I think if we're willing to offer technical support together with other developing international financial institutions. The concrete successful experience in Latin America and the Caribbean has shown that transforming agri-food requires concerted multiple sector efforts. We must remember that sustainability is a goal. We need to build the region, create a clear pathway, and develop the instrument needed to achieve our objectives. To do so, we should also improve efficiency, effective, and coherent reform to leverage collaboration, investment, innovation, and technology both within and beyond the region. That's why this minister conference are waiting for your partnership and ownership to make a decision how to strengthen FAO country office in this region. I'm ready to support all of you to strengthen the country office and even sub-regional office, the regional office, to make scale up, speed up the process to SDG and the sustainable development. At the multiple level, the G20 and the President of Brazil in 2024 is providing a unique opportunity to discuss the issues of the common interest at a high level and to advocate for the eradication of hunger and the reduction of inequality through the important global multilateral forum. For example, G20 Task Force for the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, proposed by the Brazilian presidency and strongly supported by FAO, aims to bring together resources and knowledge for the implementation of the improved effective public practice and policies related technologies to reduce hunger and poverty worldwide. FAO is working very closely with the Brazilian G20 presidents to advocate this important initiative. I would also like to emphasize the importance of the proposed new food security, nutrition, and hunger eradication plan of the Community of Latin America and the Caribbean State, CELAC, to address the current agri-food system challenges through the regional integration. Dear friends, the Latin America and the Caribbean is well positioned to make a significant contribution to global progress despite the numerous challenges. This region, with rich natural resources and less population density, accounts for 14% of global food production 45% of net international trade in agri-food products, and with 12% of the world population. It hosts 47% of the world drinking water reserve. The region is also renowned for its biodiversity, hosting a notable concentration of the endemic and the native species. You have a big potential to accelerate progress and to do even more with less. FAO is committed to support you on this path, bringing the science-based evidence, provide innovative, inclusive solutions, and accelerate actions. This regional conference provides an opportunity to identify and set a tangible target to accelerate the national and regional progress towards agri-food system transformation through the 4 betters. I wish you fruitful discussion with productive outcomes during this regional conference hosted here in the beautiful landscape of Guyana, a very special territory that shares the unique characteristic of both the Caribbean and South America. Guyana, it means full of water. How to use water for the benefit of prosperity of country and people. Let's work together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director General. I liked how you said it there just now. Guyana, full of water. He already is picking up our way of speech. It's going to be a very busy few days for all of you, but in particular for him, as he interacts with various stakeholders over the next few days. He's heading to the Burma Rice Station to observe the drone and GIS technologies as we use technological innovation to improve rice production. Then he's heading to Nari to see the hydroponics project. He's going to be meeting young entrepreneurs who are part of the Agriculture Innovation Entrepreneurship Program. He'll see the outcomes of the shade house farming. We are growing broccoli and cauliflower and carrots and more. Then DG will meet with the fisher folk and other fishery stakeholders using the web-based platform, observing the work being done for better production, better nutrition, better environment, and a better life during this biannual conference. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we invite your attention to the screens as we now invite remarks from President Pro Tempore of CELAC and President of Honduras, Her Excellency, Ms. Xiomara Castro.
Me complace ser parte de la ceremonia de inauguración del 38 periodo de sesiones de la Conferencia Regional de la FAO para América Latina y el Caribe, y decirles que para que la seguridad alimentaria y nutricional sea sostenible y equitativa, debemos transformar el modelo económico. Durante la celebración de la 8ª cumbre de jefas y jefes de gobierno de la Comunidad de Estados Latinoamericanos y Caribeños, CELAC, la cual me honro en presidir, reconocimos que aunque nuestra región produce y exporta alimentos, persiste el hambre, la pobreza y las desigualdades. 43 millones de personas sufren hambre y carencia en América Latina. Es urgente promover la soberanía alimentaria, la alimentación escolar y la reactivación del agro. La globalización no resolvió nuestros problemas, los agravó. Hoy nos queda un largo y arduo camino para eliminar las causas estructurales de la dependencia y la explotación que han sido sometidos nuestros recursos naturales y nuestros pueblos. Como presidenta pro tempore de la CELAC, sostengo que la situación actual en torno a la inseguridad alimentaria y la falta de empleo que genera el modelo económico de la globalización nos convoca al diálogo, a la innovación y a la construcción de alianzas para transformar el programa agroalimentario, la vida de las personas y la protección del medio ambiente. El Plan de Seguridad Alimentaria, Nutrición y Erradicación del Hambre 2024-2030 conocido como el Plan San-CELAC, nos ofrece una primera propuesta integral de políticas que pueden servir de base para abordar con determinación el problema del hambre y la malnutrición. Ante esta conferencia regional de la FAO, les propongo políticas estructurales de inmediato abordaje que tomen en cuenta. Número 1, incorporar a las mujeres, pueblos originarios y campesinado. Número 2, regular la tenencia, el uso de la tierra, el agua y la protección de la biodiversidad. La producción y el acceso equitativo a los alimentos depende en gran medida de ello. Número 3, fortalecer la agricultura familiar, las cadenas de suministro, los mercados locales y el combate a los impactos del cambio climático. Número 4, modificar el modelo económico, el que deberá apoyar al campo, a los productores de alimentos, crear los incentivos y el acceso al crédito y a los mercados. En nombre de la República de Honduras, en mi calidad de presidenta pro tempore de la CELAC, propongo modificar nuestro sistema económico e implementar políticas y medidas que aumenten la capacidad de producción de las comunidades latinoamericanas y caribeñas para convertir estos objetivos en una realidad. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Your Excellency. For those who weren't able to get their headsets on in time and to select the language, you can do so because our next presentation will also be done in, well, this one will be done in Portuguese. So I'll give you a moment to ensure that your headsets and you can select the language of choice. We gave that announcement a little earlier. In case you missed it, you can do so now. This is the opening ceremony of the Regional Conference for Latin America and the Caribbean. This is the ministerial session. It's hosted by the Government of Guyana in collaboration with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. On we go with the opening ceremony program. We will now have a special message to the conference from President of G20 and President of Brazil, His Excellency, Mr. Lula Inácio da Silva.
Thank you. It's my honor to read the original Portuguese of the message of President Lula to this conference. Excelentíssimo Senhor Mohamed Irfan Ali, Presidente da República Cooperativa da Guiana, Senhor Primeiro-Ministro, senhores parlamentares. Excelentíssimo Senhor Zulfikar Mustafa, Ministro da Agricultura da Guiana e Presidente desta conferência, em nome de quem saúdo todas as delegações. Excelentíssimo Senhor Chu Dong-yu, Diretor-Geral da FAO. Senhoras e senhores, saúdo a realização da 38ª Conferência Regional da FAO para a América Latina e o Caribe. O combate à fome e à pobreza é uma luta constante. Em 2022, 735 milhões de pessoas passavam fome. Esse número inaceitável corresponde a quase 10% da população mundial. Além disso, 3 bilhões de pessoas ao redor do mundo não contam com recursos para ter uma dieta saudável, e 1 em cada 5 crianças sofre de desnutrição. A fome e a pobreza são as expressões mais abjetas da desigualdade. Os países latino-americanos e caribenhos foram pioneiros no mundo ao colocar, ainda em 2009, a eliminação total da fome como uma meta para nossos governos. A recente aprovação do Plano CELAC para a Segurança Alimentar e Nutricional e Erradicação da Fome 2030 servirá para guiar nossos esforços nos próximos anos. Não podemos transigir com a fome. É preciso agir com determinação e rapidez, razão pela qual elegemos o tema como uma das prioridades da presidência brasileira do G20. Estabelecemos uma força-tarefa que tem como objetivo criar uma aliança global contra a fome e a pobreza. A aliança estará aberta a todos os que quiserem somar em prol dessa iniciativa. Ela será construída tendo por base o que já alcançamos e reunirá os que acreditam que acabar com a fome e com a pobreza, além de possível, é um imperativo da humanidade. Estamos convidando todos os países interessados a aderir à Aliança Global. A voz e as experiências do Sul Global merecem ser ouvidas e conhecidas. Agradeço à FAO pelo trabalho desempenhado em nossos países e pela parceria e colaboração constante com o governo brasileiro para a promoção da segurança alimentar e nutricional em diversas frentes. Anuncio, com grande satisfação, a disposição do Brasil de sediar a 39ª Conferência Regional da FAO em 2026. Será uma oportunidade única para avaliar os nossos avanços e nossas estratégias em matéria de segurança alimentar e nutricional. Muito obrigado.
Thank you for that special message, Excellency Lula da Silva. Ladies and gentlemen, apologies for any interpretation challenges you may still be encountering. Perhaps during this segment, we can fine-tune so that you can continue to hear the rest of the opening ceremony. So you are in, as DG said, the land of many waters. You may know that we were awarded the Destination of the Year in the Ecological Tourism category. Yes, we can have a round of applause, and also like to acknowledge the Tourism Minister of the Year, the Woman Tourism Minister of the Year in South America, Minister Onij Waldron. Can you give us a wave? I know, I see her in the room. And so, to give you a little bit more, just a sample of who we are and what we so proudly showcase to the world, we will now have a cultural presentation.
draped in an irresistible combination of breathtaking and enchanting beauty. Guyana is an evergreen paradise, the land of many waters and home to the Holy Grail golden city of El Dorado. Nestled to the northern coast, Guyana is South America's greatest treasure, a perfect ambience for nature lovers, eco-tourists, and adventure seekers, bursting with countless possibilities, unmatched flora and fauna, and giant species that hide in our pristine Amazonia rainforest. An unthinkable diversity where our anteaters, jaguars, capuchin monkeys, and harpy eagles roam freely. Deep within the green heart of Guyana lies the mighty Kaichor Falls. This 743 feet fall is the largest single drop waterfall in the world. Its natural wonder pours into its verdant, permanently misted-covered river below, the Essequibo River. Now journey with me through Guyana's capital city, Georgetown, the home to the tall, Gothic-style St. George's Cathedral, the largest wooden building in all the Caribbean. Atop flowers above the South Market, this area is easily the busiest such place in the city, always bustling with people and activities. A place where our farmers add vibrant colors with their harvests that are grown in the green hinterland of Guyana. Experience our many restaurants and nightlife spots, all in the heart of Georgetown. Take a stroll on the seawall and let the golden sand kiss your feet as it lies to the fore of our Atlantic Ocean. While Guyana has many magnificent sceneries, what makes her stand out is her people. We stand in hospitality and diversity. We enjoy the sweet sound of soca, reggae, chutney, and calypso music, especially during our cultural celebrations like Mashramani, Carnival, Independence, and many other festivities that we celebrate in unity. Our food is one of a kind. Gather around a table with some of our famous dishes like curry and pepper pot that will burn your senses up with its heat-induced spices and flavors. A flurry of deep water unearthing in the Atlantic off Guyana's coast will aid in the vital transformation of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Guyana.
Mazak bolot nobong, bolowia kok mano cicik nikai. We are one Guyana, a place of peace, a place of love. We are one Guyana, it's paradise, it's on the low coast and plains. Plenty rice and sugar cane. Same Guyanese burning on the green. So make me burn out the electric time in raising. Can't make that this strong. 6 race and share the same space in this 83,000 square miles. We are one Guyana, a place of peace, a place of love. We are one Guyana, it's paradise, it's our world. Brothers of blood, no matter which religion is you, could have Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, Hindu. Sister is a sister, real and true. One big mother, culture room. And all we together, could really make this dream come true. Mama, right, Guyana for me and you. Ocean, now up and say this June. Thank you for love. We are one Guyana. A place of peace, a place of love. We are one Guyana. There's paradise, it's our world. Love runs deep like a beautiful rivers from Guyana. When we stand as one, mighty as none divine. From Guyana, from Guyana. Our life would be beautiful, just like Guyana. She tastes so sweet to all, just like the raisins. One around Guyana, us, put us together. Give us a standing ovation, this great nation. This way, place of peace, a place of love. We are one Guyana. It's paradise, it's our world. We are one She put up her punchy hair and gone. Them are the first one out on the down. Basket as she had, bucket in each hand. Hold and punch it back and one on she grandson. To the market them a go. Oh, the man in the day standing. Fuck up big the villagers are wanting. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animals take turn as them join in the waking. Cock-a-crow, da-da-ba, that'll be breakfast and the evening cock-a-quack. Cock-a-crow, da-da-ba, that'll be breakfast and the evening cock-a-quack. Come and hear this sweet story, but tell the people what life in the country. Oh, they are packed on, now I come home. He not got donkey, cattle, veggie load. Cutlass I had, bag over shoulder, running by his side. A Rexy and Rover, from the farm, them a come. So now go down but up the river. Some washing clothes, some digging at the water. Fisherman him catch him a bring. From a canoe boat man them start uploading. Aymara, Pakwari, Gilba, Kuma, even Lunani. Aymara, Pakwari, Gilba, Kuma, even Lunani. Listen to this sweet story. We'll tell the people about life in the country. Listen to this sweet story. We'll
tell the people, but I win the country. Have you ever heard somebody what the eagle soar above heaven green? You know exactly what I mean. Most beautiful thing ever seen. I never mind you sleep. If you and please, come on and feel the ocean breeze. This is freedom. This is freedom. This is freedom. Tell me that we are free. This is freedom. This is freedom. This is freedom. Paradise is real. GT is the deal. From the mountains to valleys to rivers deep in the jungle. We're beautiful people. We tell you to be peaceful. Come let me take you to nature for till the waters run. And I tell them straight, no more procrastination. This is the destination. Oh, this is Guyana. I love you heart. I don't delicacies, believe me, what I of mine. Having a time, this is freedom. This is freedom. This is freedom. Tell you that we are free. This is freedom. This is freedom. This is freedom. Oh, freedom, 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 freedom. Here in Guyana, sing freedom, 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 freedom. Oh,
come away with me,
sweet, sweet charity.
We can blow your mind, we can chill out in the city.
Great land of the free.
From London to quarantine.
The opportunities are endless.
You need to come and see. Why?
Oh, this is freedom. This is freedom. This is freedom. Tell you that we are free. This is freedom. This is freedom. This is freedom. Paradise is real. 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 Paradise is real. 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 This is freedom. This is freedom. This is freedom. Tell you that we are free. This is freedom. 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 This is freedom.
Thanks to our brilliant creatives for that spectacular showcase of who we are and what we offer you. Can we give them another round of applause? This is Guyana, your host country, whose distinctive culture enriches our diverse country. A multi-religious country as well, where our three main faiths are currently observing a period of prayer and fasting, and we worship in freedom. So besides your conference commitments, we hope you get a little sample of our paradise. So you can come back again. There is so much to experience and enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming up to a very high point in our opening ceremony this afternoon. Guyana is playing a leading role in agriculture and food security matters. Our president is the chair of CARICOM, and this is important as it signals regional integration and leadership. May I invite you to please stand as we invite for the keynote address His Excellency, the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali.
Thank you. Thank you very much, very kindly. Please have your seats. Director General of the FAO, the Presidency of the G20, Presidency of CELAC, Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, Minister of Agriculture and Chair of the conference, members of the Cabinet, Speaker of the National Assembly, Secretary General of CARICOM, distinguished members of the diplomatic community, distinguished delegates, special invitees, ladies and gentlemen, but specifically all the students who are here. Good afternoon and welcome to the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Before I seek to go further, we cannot meet such an important international stage without bringing attention, because I believe that every opportunity we have to bring attention to some of the global issues we are faced with, we must make full use of those opportunities. One of the great challenge of the world today is to deal with conflict, violence, wars, and the consequential effect on women and children especially. Hunger, food shortages, disturbing scenes from across the world. Those who are affected and have lost their life through terrorism and terrorist activities. Those in Haiti who continue to suffer every day with very little attention from across the world. Those in Ukraine, and disproportionately, the greatest effect is on women and children. And those in Palestine who continue to suffer the indignity of war, senseless killing, suffering from hunger. I ask all of us at this forum, if you're so inclined, to stand and join me in a moment of silence and reflection and prayers for all these people who are suffering as we meet today. I thank you. It is only in our collective voice and collective wisdom we can send a message to end the atrocities and suffering of these persons globally. So delegates, there are two songs that may need some interpretation for you. One is a folk song that a young man sang. And what he was singing about was celebrating the people in the country or the countryside, most of whom are farmers. So the folk song was about farmers and people living in the countryside, telling the story of them waking up early in the morning and working late in the evening so that they can bring the produce to our table, so they can bring the exotic fish and the sacrifices our fisher folk and farmers make so that we can all be happy and have plentiful food. So that song really was celebrating the life of farmers, people in the country, the life of our productive sector. It's a folk song dedicated to those persons. And the second song that was about freedom tells a story about what freedom looks like. And in our country, such a diverse country, it's a story of unity and people living together. So the song spoke about the story of freedom, how colorful it is, how united it is, how beautiful it is. And it tells you of this land that is our paradise, that celebrates this freedom and brings this freedom together. It tells you about a destination where the people are not only beautiful, but the land is rich, culturally rich, rich in every aspect of beauty, and more importantly, where peace exists. So I thought I would help our delegates to better understand the two songs by giving you an idea of what they were singing about. Today, as we gather here, you are confronted with many challenges as leaders and practitioners, members from the academic community, on how we can better resolve food crisis, how we can better develop a global system that is equitable, fair, just, and one in which plenty is transformed into equal. Because whilst we have great starvation and hunger across the world, we still have great waste, plentiful waste across the world. It is how we get this equilibrium, how do we get to this balance that is important. There are a number of thematic areas that I think this conference must address. The issue of technology and use of technology in the food production system. But for me, the future of food production revolves around women and young people. How do we get women and youths more involved in the food production system? And let us distinguish between agriculture and food production. Agriculture is only a component of a food production system. Sometimes we mix up things and we think that it's about agriculture. It's not about agriculture. It's about a food production system that involves technology, that involves processing, that involves transport and logistics, that involves value creation, that involves agriculture, producing the raw materials. So how do we ensure that women and young people are involved in this ecosystem that we speak about, this food production ecosystem? How do we get to a position where decision-making in the food production system of which agriculture is a component is data-driven? And this is important in a world where we have such susceptibility to climate events. Decision-making must be data-driven as far as possible. We have to work on reorganization of the global production system. And we have seen how heavy reliance on one area can affect us in times of conflict. So we have to examine critically the global production system and to see whether there is some reorganization that is required and what structural changes are needed to aid that reorganization. The other issue is climate secure production system. We can create the best agricultural model in the food production system landscape in this region, but one hurricane can wipe it all out. So how do we work on climate secure production system, understanding the vulnerability that each region faces and develop systems that work to protect us against those vulnerability? Importantly is the political will. Many of us say we want to end hunger and end starvation and malnutrition. But if you look at our budgetary allocation, it does not reflect that will. If you look at the expenditure profile, it does not reflect that will. Political will is not only shouting out a message, it is about taking policy action and making policy intervention that addresses the issue.
Sur le terrain, les décisions budgétaires.
Making the necessary adjustment and changes in your own local systems to support what message you're putting forward. Recently, I had the opportunity of completing a document, and it's entitled Zero Hunger and Malnutrition in the Caribbean 2030 and beyond towards a sustainable food system. So we took all the data that is available and developed a policy-based document on how we can move not only to food security, but ending malnutrition and hunger in the region. So in this region, we have been doing tremendous work, and I will highlight some of the work we are doing. But I would make this available to see if it can be of any support to the work that you will do over the coming days and months ahead. The financing and insurance. We in the region, we understand that financing and insurance is a critical component of the food production system. And we have to address these issues. We cannot go on without finding innovative ways in which we can address issues of financing and insurance to support the food ecosystem, food production ecosystem, of which agriculture is a key component. In this region, we were able to negotiate $100 million from one private institution at very low interest rate, as is 3%, around 3%. And that the interest rate was close to 8 to 12% for agriculture. We negotiated $100 million at 3%. But this is just, this is from the private sector, but I think the multinational system need to adjust its financing for agriculture in the food production system so that more weight is placed on concessional loans and concessional financing to support the food production system. We also need greater integration. And integration is not only at the national level. Here in this region, we are now working on a regional food hub that will seek to integrate south with CARICOM and then further up north. So Brazil, Venezuela, we are working, the partners we are working with in this region is so diverse now. The Middle East, China, the US, Canada, we are working, Cuba, we are working with multifaceted partners because we understand that the integration is critical. If we don't work on an integrated platform, then we will have major difficulties. For example, if we had platforms that allowed us to store grains, or just like we store fuel, this is not rocket science, because many countries and many regions ensure that they have fuel supply storage facility for 8 months, 12 months, 2 years to take care of any shock in the system. Do we have any facility that can give us 6 months of grains in any region, 6 months of wheat in any region? So when there is volatility in price, when there are shocks, unexpected shocks like war, we at least have some amount of storage capacity. There is none. That is why I said we have to look at the entire ecosystem. So the same emphasis that is placed on energy security, security for fuel, food is so important. Why can't we place the same level of seriousness on investing in facilities that will allow us to store to avoid shocks, especially when you have prices that are low? Why we can't give the farmers a decent price to avoid dumping, and then build out these facilities that help us. We have the technology to increase the shelf life and store. These are things that we must address, and these are the issues that I think of when we look at greater integration, transport, and logistics. But important to what we're doing is how do we ensure that the next generation just don't eat, but eat food with greater nutritional value? How do we go back to the bowl and avoid the box? Many of you grew up going to school with your food bowl, especially in this region, in the CARICOM region. I don't think there's any minister here who did not go to school without a food bowl. If you went, then you were part of a different class. But that bowl contained fresh cooked food from your homes with a full nutritional value. Today, we have moved away from the bowl and we've gone to the box, create many difficulties, not only nutritional, but environmental issues. So how do we get to the situation of eating food with greater nutritional value? So those are some of the things that we have to grapple with, I think, at this important conference. But we still live in a world today where 12% of all the grains, wheat, barley, maize, sunflower, is under threat, and that is 12% produced by Ukraine. You see, this has affected seriously the United Nations grain distribution system, where 40% of the grain distribution system has been affected just because of this one conflict in Ukraine. We live in a world where inflation, adjusted food prices remain above average for the recent years. The agriculture sector, as we know it now, is ill-equipped to meet this demand. And why is it ill-equipped? Because 700 million of its workers currently live in poverty. And we have to face these realities. You're talking about agriculture, which requires people. 700 million of the persons who participate in the agricultural sector live in poverty. How are we going to change conditions for them? How are we going to target the 700 million people and help them to develop a system to get out of poverty? Because if 700 million people in the agricultural system live in poverty, what message is it sending to the next generation of people? Do you want to join a sector of poverty? How do we ensure that those 700 million people get access to water, get access to food that they're producing, get access to education? How do we lift this 700 million people out of poverty? We cannot come here with the best ideas and forget that we have 700 million people who we represent at FAO, at ICA, at Ministry of Agriculture in Guyana, or wherever, living in poverty. What message are we going to send to them after this conference? How are we going to represent them and their rights and their values after this conference? Because food production is not only about food, it's about the people who are involved in the system of producing the food. Many times these conferences would ignore that we have 700 million people who participate every day in the production system who live in poverty. The other issue we have to deal with the agriculture sector is that it is already responsible for 70% of the world's water consumption. And the Director General and I were having a brief conversation, pointing out to 4 thematic areas downstairs. But the world is saying that your sector accounts for 70% of water consumption. What is this conference going to say about that? What technology are we going to deploy? How are we going to ensure that we have availability of water and that our systems are built to better utilize water? The third issue is that the environmentalists would tell us that 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions come from the sector. These are the realities. These are some of the threats for the sector. And we have to plan understanding these realities, understanding these threats. Because in all of these threats lies great opportunity. We plan at a time when food prices in 2024 are forecasted to increase at 2.9%, nearly half of the 5.8% increase in 2023. So we had a 5.8 percentage point increase in 2023. In 2024, the forecast is that we'll have a 2.9% increase. But what we don't tell is that the 2.9% is on a base that was already increased by 5.3% last year. So you're talking about close to 9% increase from 2023 and what is projected in 2024. And that's just the last 2 years. How do we address these issues? And these figures are according to the US Department of Agriculture. We live in a world where 2 billion people in the world suffer from malnutrition. And it is estimated that we need 60% more food to feed the global population by 2050. So we need 60% more food than we produce today to feed the world by 2050. And 2 billion people are suffering from malnutrition. What this figure does not take into consideration is how conflict and war will affect these numbers. And also, I did a piece on that for the United Nations Security Council. We got this issue debated during our presidency. So how conflict and war would affect that, and how climate-related event would affect this. Because right now, we have a major issue. And I think I have the figure somewhere. Oh, I have it right here. Where climate conditions that have caused severe droughts in Latin America has resulted in a staggering 36% reduction in total transits over the past month compared to a year ago through the Panama Canal. Just one event, drought, is affecting 36% of the transits. What that means is that a drought has affected 36% of what passes through the system, which would affect supply, supply affect demand, demand affect price. So this 60% growth that we speak about does not even take into consideration the climate-related event. What this means is that it is projected that almost 600 million people will be chronically undernourished in 2030 if this war is sustained. And this is why the war affects us all. This is why all of us has an equal voice to speak out against the war. Because if the war continues, it is projected that 600 million people will be chronically undernourished by 2030. Isn't this cause enough for our voices to be unified? The cost of poor nutrition and all of its impact, the cost of poor nutrition and its collective impact is estimated at 20 trillion, more than double the cost of global food consumption. And that's the irony. Because if we don't invest in dealing with the issue of malnutrition, then the consequential social and health cost is so much that it's about 20 trillion, which is more than double the cost of food consumption. So why not address the root cause of the problem, which is food consumption? And I think this is another key area that we must address. Here in Guyana, we have been actively engaged on the advancement of food security. And just to demonstrate the political will, we've increased the budgetary allocation in the agriculture sector from Guyanese dollars 13.3 billion in 2019 to 32.2 billion in 2023, an increase of 150%. We are working to establish the region's first state-of-the-art regional food hub, estimated at more than $14 million in its first phase. In Guyana, we'll spend close to $30 million. And this will be linked to northern Brazil. And you know, we are a country of love and peace. And in this vein, I want to welcome our neighbors from Venezuela. Please put your hands together for our neighbors from Venezuela. So we are making this investment for CARICOM and for up north. And that is why we said our prosperity must come to the region prosperity. So we are looking at integrating this regional food hub with Brazil that would look at the issue of transport and logistics, storage, costs, but more importantly, building out of an infrastructure that would aid the development of the food system in the rest of the region. So that's another investment we are making. In addition to this, we have set ourselves a target that 35% of all new farms must be owned by women and young people. And we are well on that target. As a result of these investments, what we have seen that agriculture, forestry, and fishing sector has expanded by an estimated 7% in 2023. We have seen the livestock industry was estimated to have grown by 12.7% in 2023. Eggs, the production has increased by 30.7%, poultry meat 13%, pork 21.9%, and milk product 1%. The fishing industry saw a growth of 37.8%. The shrimp production expanded by 61.1%. Aquaculture production expanded by 75% in 2023. Those are the results of the investments we are making in the food ecosystem here in Guyana. Now, in the region, we have set ourselves a goal of achieving a reduction of our import by 25% by 2025. A recent review in February of 2024 put our progress at close to 70% of our objective since starting the initiative 3 years ago. That is in CARICOM. The progress is enormous, and I want to applaud all the ministers of agriculture in the region. By the end of 2026, the region will be fully self-sufficient in corn, soya, black-eyed peas, and red beans by the end of 2026. That's hundreds of millions of US dollars we'll save from import in these areas by the end of 2026. We are now turning our attention and addressing the issue of malnutrition. And we have a clear plan and strategy in ending malnutrition by 2030. We understand also that as our production increases, we have to look at markets, we have to look at technology. For this reason, we have engaged the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the US, the Dominican Republic, China, Canada, and of course, Brazil through Embrapa. These are all important partners that we are working with. More importantly, very recently, we have started to work with Cuba in an aggressive way to build out the ecosystem using their technology in what is known there as the biopharma industry, but building out an industry that will that we will look at producing all our veterinary needs here in Guyana, all our agrochemical needs for the region right here in Guyana, and that those discussions are in advanced stages as we seek to build out an ecosystem and infrastructure that will serve the collective whole of our region. Importantly, with the FAO and ICA, Guyana is investing in a center of excellence equipped with a situational room and a state-of-the-art data analytics platform to support regional food security and regional food production. And earlier I spoke about the need for data-driven decision-making. We are not talking about it alone, we're doing it. So we are making this investment. We've set aside the resources already, and we're working with the scientists from FAO and ICA so that by long before the end of this year, we'll have the Center of Excellence with a situational room and a state-of-the-art data analytical platform to serve the needs of the entire region. In addition to this, we're working with ICA on the establishment of food production system school that would have all our people in the region studying right here with the best technology on the best platform. So we are converting the Guyana School of Agriculture into a regional international institution with the branding of ICA with us. So that's another area that we're working on. The private sector is integral in this entire process. We have to guide them in decision-making, to have them work in consortiums. So we have a number of consortiums that we are building. We now have to move the consortiums from national consortiums to regional consortiums so that we can have scale, we can increase the scale, and we can make financing more accessible. These are some of the things that we are doing, some of the challenges I wanted to point to. And of course, from the inception in these brief remarks, I've outlined some issues I think we can work on together. I thank you very much for allowing Guyana to host this seminar. I assure you of Guyana's and CARICOM full commitment to the realization of all the goals of ending food insecurity, but more importantly, addressing the issue of malnutrition. We in CARICOM are looking forward for the transfer of technology to our friends from Brazil. We are relying heavily on you to play your part in sharing with us and working with us. I think for too long, we have allowed geographic distance, which is really no distance because Guyana is the bridge. We have allowed that distance that was in the figment of our imagination to avoid the integration that is so necessary. Thank you very much, and God bless all of you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for leading the agri-food system, not just in the Caribbean, but now offering global leadership to forge a new path forward to zero hunger, zero malnutrition in the sub-region through better production, better nutrition, better environment, and a better life. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost at the end of our opening ceremony. We just have another item or two to go. And this is a hybrid opening ceremony, and we're delighted to let you know that over 1,000 participants are now connected with us via our online channels, and another 250 or so in the room and on the outskirts of the conference facility. And for closing remarks, I now invite the chair of the FAO Regional Conference and our Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. His Excellency, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Honorable Prime Minister, Brigadier Mark Phillip, Speaker of the National Assembly, His Excellency, Director General of FAO, Secretary General of CARICOM, Director General of ICA, Cabinet colleague, member of the Diplomatic Corps, delegates to the 38th session of LARC special invitees, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, please allow me to extend our deepest appreciation to the Food and Agriculture Organization for entrusting Guyana with organizing and hosting of the 38th FAO Regional Conference for Latin America and the Caribbean, LARC38. I'm delighted that we are able to convey face-to-face following a productive virtual session last week. The discussion during that senior officer meeting and those that will embark on over the next 3 days are pivotal for our region as we tackle the issue of food and nutrition security. I wish to recognize the stellar work of the FAO across the region in improving national capacity to implement legal, regulatory, and programmatic frameworks to address food security. And right here in Guyana, we have seen His Excellency the President remain vibrant as he is equally leading the charge. And I want to say just now, he was very modest in saying that the program that we have implemented, but I want to say that he has been leading the charge in driving government noble strides toward transforming CARICOM. Towards transforming CARICOM region's agri-food system in concert with the FAO's regional and global effort. I wish to take this opportunity to thank him for his impactful address and those issues that were highlighted are pressing concern, and it demands compelling actions for the way forward. President Ali has launched numerous initiatives focused on ensuring that sustainable agriculture remains a fundamental pillar for national and regional development. In Guyana, he has highlighted a few. In Guyana, I want to say that we have had a number of prominent initiatives which include, and this one is a very novel one that we have started in Guyana, and the President's brainchild, the Agriculture Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, targeting youth to become agribusiness owners. And here again, we know for a fact that young people today see agriculture as a menial job, see agriculture as a job that there for old and mature people. But that perception is being changed right here in Guyana with that launch and that brainchild by our president that he has launched a year ago. The revival of the aquaculture industry is another program that we are seeing vast progress on. The advancement of the livestock industry and the program for self-sufficiency in livestock feed with the production of corn and soybeans. Large infrastructural projects so that we can create the necessary framework for those farmers that are toiling every day to bring food to the table. In the CARICOM sub-region, President Ali has been at the forefront of championing the concept of regional transformation of the food system to ensure that the sector provides healthy, affordable diets for all. These efforts, among numerous others, are responsive to the call to action to reduce the Caribbean's US $6 billion food import bill by 25% by the year 2025, a strategic vision which is embodied in the framework paper advancing the CARICOM agri-food system agenda, prioritizing regional food and nutrition security, which was presented by His Excellency at the 32nd Heads of Government meeting in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to work closely with the FAO, it is imperative that the FAO's regional priorities and strategic endeavors align even closer with our national and regional policies, supporting our common aims and enhancing our capabilities and knowledge. There is need to improve initiatives financial support, and the President alluded to that, on concrete action to increase the resilience and sustainability of the agri-food system to overcome the impacts of climate change and food and insecurity in light of the region's high vulnerability. The assistance of FAO would be key in supporting the development of a comprehensive early warning system for multiple hazard and sector, supporting access to credit and insurance, improving water management, developing food supply chain to enhance trade, and promoting adoption of digital innovations and relevant technology. I want to assure you that the transition of this conference into the ministerial segment is set to foster even greater cooperation and strategies on essential topics such as sustainability, transformation, food security, agri-food systems, and addressing climate change issues for our future plans. Let us utilize the opportunity that this conference will present us to discuss priority issues through sharing experiences and challenges of transforming our agri-food system in light of the reality of each member state and the region as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. I invite you to take some time off to enjoy our beautiful country and the warm hospitality of our people. Together, we can chart a course that will guarantee better production, better nutrition, a better environment, and a better life for all. Thank you all, and I look forward to a productive week ahead.
We have one more announcement before we officially close. I'm now going to invite Conference Secretary, Dr. Eve Crowley. She's got an announcement to make.
Thank you very much. First, a quick round of applause for this very beautiful and moving ceremony that was organized by the government of Guyana, please. So before we close for a coffee break, I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that we are going to be taking an official photograph. This will be done in front of the conference center in the stairway as you enter the conference center before taking the coffee break. The official photo will include FAO's Director General, the President of Guyana, the heads of all delegations, ministers, vice ministers, and directors, and we kindly request that all countries be present for this photo. In addition, during your time today, we invite you to explore a special immersive experience on the first floor that has been brought to Guyana from FAO headquarters in Rome in collaboration with our communications colleagues. Through digital and innovative storytelling, you will go on a journey to explore the connections between globally important agricultural heritage systems from Latin America and the Caribbean and around the world, as well as the vital role of water in sustaining life and food for all people. This creative experience is meant to show how we're all connected. It represents our shared commitment toward transforming agri-food systems for present and future generations. So we hope that you will all take part in this innovative experience. Finally, and by no means least, your coffee break is being offered on the first floor in the Delegates Lounge near the immersive room. Please be back in 30 minutes. So that would be at 3:10. And we would like to allow, as our Master of Ceremonies will conclude, that the President and other senior authorities would exit the hall first. But I turn it over to our wonderful Master of Ceremonies, Michela Abraham Ali. Also, thank you very much, Michela.
Thank you, Dr. Crowley. And if Dr. Crowley sounded so versatile, she is a Caribbean lady born in Trinidad, now working, of course, doing important work. She is the niece of Guyanese concert pianist Ray Locke, Mr. President. And so we welcome her. She's staying on 1 week after the conference, so don't be afraid. She is here for the conference, but enjoy the Rupununi. She's heading there after the conference. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our opening ceremony this afternoon. We thank our online participants. And for those of you here in the Dome, we will now prepare for the photo. President, Prime Minister, Director General, Minister, and the other delegates will firstly leave, and then the rest of us can. Thank you again. Have a good afternoon and have a successful conference here in Georgetown, Guyana.
Welcome to Guyana, a gem in the heart of Latin America and the Caribbean, graced with breathtaking landscapes and a richness that blends natural diversity with a unique cultural heritage. From vast valleys to dense forests and majestic rivers and waterfalls, Guyana unfurls a palette of scenes that captivate those privileged to explore it. Today, from its capital, Georgetown, we connect with all Latin America and the Caribbean through the 38th Regional Conference of the FAO to engage in dialogue and discussion about the progress and challenges facing our region. This continues the mandate entrusted by member countries and renewed during the last regional conference held in Quito, Ecuador. The journey over these 2 years has been challenging, despite FAO figures indicating that Latin America and the Caribbean made the greatest strides in reducing hunger and food insecurity in 2022. 43.2 million people still lack access to food. The reasons are manifold. The socioeconomic consequences of the pandemic, global conflicts, and food inflation, among other factors, persistently affect the most vulnerable. But we are standing at a pivotal moment in time, where new opportunities are emerging. It is time to move from commitment to more action. The path to a sustainable future cannot be walked alone. FAO joins hands with member governments of the region, working tirelessly to address the pressing challenges we face today. Thanks to successful regional integration, we have achieved significant, tangible results to help achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, especially those linked to combating poverty, hunger, and inequalities. Over the next 4 days, Latin American and Caribbean governments will reaffirm their commitment to advancing towards more efficient, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable agri-food systems. Together, we can create a future where every person has access to more nutritious food, every producer can generate better yields, and our planet can confront climate change. The journey continues here in Guyana. Join us